Okay. Do you know what Zap stands for?
No.
I did, but I don't anymore.
Zombie alien.
Zombie apocalypse preparation.
Zombie apocalypse preparation.
How do you know Tyson?
Well, he's like my brother from another mother, so quite well.
How old were you when you met Tyson?
I was 8 years old when I moved up to Apple Pie, and that's how long I've known him. So.
Tyson's my son. He was born in the house down the road, down at the bottom of the hill there in 1981.
I know Tyson just from living up here on Apple Pie. He was living in Santa Barbara when I first came here, but we've become buddies in the last few years. So
I met him through mutual friends, and the first time I ever remember hearing about him was when my friends went on a trip through Central and South America with Tyson, and the first thing I heard about Tyson was that he was doing this trip on crutches.
I'm his mother!
I grew up with him in Big Sur.
Well, we went to kindergarten together.
I met him once upon a time through my friend Marcos Ortega.
What do you think about Tyson's experiment?
Tyson's a total whack job.
I think it's pretty cool. I'll be glad when it's over, though.
Well, it's definitely a Tyson thing to do. He's so into making rules for himself, and he loves rules because he hates for people to break the rules. So I guess this is his way of making more rules for himself and seeing how extreme he can get.
I think it's going to be a great time.
I think it's good, preparing for the end of the world.
It's good to see somebody kind of pushing the envelope and trying something new. When in the times we live in, it's so easy for people to just work a 9 to 5 or take the safe route. Tyson's doing something completely crazy, absurd, or maybe genius, all the above.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic.
Do you think he'll make it a whole year?
I think he'll make it a whole year. I think it's going to get really difficult when the WNBA playoffs come around, because Tyson, since hopefully a lot of people are not watching this video, Tyson has a secret affinity for women's professional basketball.
He will make it a year unless, he somehow manages to get himself hurt, which he actually does quite frequently.
I don't know. I really don't know. I think if anyone could, he could, but I think a year's a really long time.
If this shit really happens, we're going to all have to make it more than a year.
I wouldn't bet against him. He's too stubborn, bullheaded to, and there's been quite a bit of build-up to this now, too. A lot of people know about it. I'm doing an interview, so if he doesn't, I'm definitely going to give him some shit, and I don't think I'm the only one.
What do you think his biggest challenge will be?
Keeping his girlfriend.
I think it'll be hard to not be able to communicate and be there all the time, whenever. So I think he'll be able to do it with the food and everything else, but I think it's going to be the social aspect that'll be difficult.
If you started Zap, is what he's calling it today, what do you have in your house that would prepare you? Kind of like, do you have lots of food, or do you have weapons, or whatever it is that you
I've got it all. I've got weapons, and I've got food.
So you can
we have
survive.
a lot of rice and pasta, and some canned tomatoes and stuff. I'd probably make it a month.
My mom, when we were little, she actually was all afraid of, like, the end of the world type stuff, and I remember finding a packaging of all these dried vegetables and shit in our basement once, and she had made my dad purchase over some infomercial a year's supply worth of food.
I have a little tiny purse gun.
I don't have any weapons, but I do have a cat that brings in birds to my room.
Okay, that's good.
So I could Yes, eat the birds. I have one tomato plant growing on my deck that might feed me for about one day.
I've got quite a bit of wood, and I've got a bunch of cans of beans.
I have small artillery. Got a lot of extra dried beans and rice that have been left over.
Have you ever killed and eaten an animal?
Many times. When I was young,
Little
I was
history?
quite the killer.
Quite the killer.
I haven't shot a deer in years, but we used to shoot wild boar and deer all the time. Until I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, I'd never had a beefsteak. All we ate was deer meat.
Hey, did you show Tyson how to do all of it? How does
I
he know how
did,
to
but
do it?
Tyson hated the smell of guts.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, and I always thought it was kind of cool. But he didn't like skinning them. He didn't like gutting them.
I shot a deer once.
Did you eat it?
Yes.
Did you skin it?
Yes. A sense of like that animal is a part of you now, and that when I shot it, it was a really dramatic situation, and gutting it was really dramatic, and it was also really important, I think, for me to see that, because when you buy meat in the store, you can become so disassociated with it. It's just a chunk of meat in a package. You don't even know that's even an animal
I think
anymore.
when I used to go out at night, and I'd hold the flashlight and we'd chase deer and he'd kill them.
And then you would
And
eat
then we
them.
would eat them.
I think it's important. You just realize the
Don't have
brutality of eating.
I'm going hunting next week. It's something that I'm looking forward to doing, and I think it's you know, if you're gonna eat the meat and do all that stuff, I think I have some friends that hunt, and I'm looking forward to it.
Why do you think Tyson could accomplish this over another Zap goer?
Oh, 'cause he's more stubborn, bullheaded than pretty much anyone I fucking know. So I would definitely, if there was one person that I would say could and would do this, or even want to do this, I mean, the fact that he wants to do this would definitely be Tyson.
He's not afraid
Yeah.
to figure stuff out on his own. And that's what it's going to take when the zombies hit, or aliens, or whatever it is.
I think that living here makes it
Right.
possible.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't do this almost anywhere else.
I
But I
agree.
really think it's partly location.
He's about as crazy of a person as I know, and I think it takes someone crazy to pull it off.
What could you not live without?
For me, probably, I think not having a vehicle, which I've done real minimal hitchhiking, and that doesn't seem like something that I would want to do.
Peanut butter.
Bacon. Oh my gosh.
I've got a court
And
defense
if they've got
that
meat,
I'm
what if they have a
crazy.
duck? What if they have a turkey? What if they have frozen turkey? What if they have a beautiful, delicious meal hiding in their house? And I've gone mad because I've been deprived. My hypoglycemic levels are criminally low. I need to go over there, kill them, and eat the meat.
How long have you been without power? You said earlier that you didn't have power until...
Well, probably until I was maybe 6 years old. We never even had power. And so we
Wow.
had kerosene lamps.
The longest would probably be Big Sur in '98 for like, I don't know, I want to say it was a week or 2 weeks. We couldn't play video games.
Maybe a couple days. I think during El Nino the power was out for like 4 days.
2 days, I'd say 48 hours,
48 hours.
maybe.
I actually grew up with no power, no electricity the first 8 years of my life. We just had gas lights, so it's propane lights, a wood stove, no telephone.
Do you have any advice for Tyson? If he's going to be, living on low calories, to just try to not expend a lot, because really calories are just a numbers game.
Don't be afraid to just throw in the towel.
Don't
Like
eat
that.
anything bigger than your head.
Don't be too stubborn.
Make sure you have time to enjoy yourself, because I think one of the best things in life we have is our happiness. So when you have time to come hang out with us, come join us for a surf.
Would you ever dare to do Zap? Maybe for like a week.
Fuck no. If the world was coming to end and aliens started to invade, I'd come up with a plan real quick.
I sailed across the Pacific when I was younger than Tyson with just rice and beans in 52 days at sea at one point. So
Wow.
I think he's got a ways to go until he catches up with me.
I think think if you have the means, like, you should be prepared for the worst.
I think it's awesome.
You
It's inspiring.
have to do it a year minimum, just
Because
to
then
make
you
sure
see all
that
the
it's
seasons.
sustainable.
Yeah. You got to see the full year of the planet.
It would be a really interesting experiment to do. It would be very illuminating, really interesting to see, to find out how much you could survive and really see where you're lacking in skills.
I would like to do it. I gotta admit, I'm slightly envious of him for it, because he has the time, he has the situation, the place for it, and the ability to make this happen.
What do you think will prompt the collapse of modern civilization?
It could happen at any minute.
It's a fight over a lack of resources, probably water.
There'll be a climate change, and there'll be food shortages, which then result in revolutions and collapses of government and collapses of businesses. It all goes ding, ding, ding down the line.
People's
Like,
saliva
up on
and
their
germs.
But I think my thing with that is just like
Nuclear technology.
The end of oil.
overpopulation.
One huge financial crisis.
Devastating earthquake.
If it's going to collapse, it will be aliens or zombies. Or
One solar flare.
Tsunamis.
I think that if global warming continues and the storms continue, we will continue. But it isn't until our energy source is gone that we really are going to face a crisis.
We're kind of on a knife edge of everything has to work perfectly, and if you break one point of the chain, we could all be in Tyson's position.
With the whole zombie thing, like, I mean, do you really fucking believe in zombies? Are you, like, what are you, 5 years old?